Thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And for more information about this show and the rest of Chor Leoni's season, visit chorleoni.org and subscribe to our newsletter, The E-Roar.
This episode of Chor Leoni Inside is proudly sponsored by Will Ting, one of our beloved first tenors.
They say it's all right. They say it's all right. Say it's all right. Have a good time, 'cause it's all right. Whoa,
Hello and welcome to Chor Leoni Inside. My name is Erick Light. I am the artistic director of Chor Leoni Men's Choir in Vancouver, British Columbia, and it is great to have you here. We've got a festival of male voices singing on this show today, featuring music from Chor Leoni as well as music from Zero8, an amazing choir from Stockholm, Sweden. And I'm joined by Rasmus Krigström, their director, a little bit later on. A couple notes of business. First of all, in about a month's time, Chor Leoni will be presenting its first digital concert of the year. We will be presenting our annual Remembrance Day concert, but this time, of course, virtually. And sign up information to get an RSVP for this digital event is in the descriptor below in the bio, and you can click on that and get your codes and get your links for that event. Chor Leoni began its life marking Remembrance Day in song and with poetry, and we will continue that tradition this year, even though we can't do it live. So we will be bringing together some of the best pieces of our last 28 years of Remembrance Day performances and bring them to you. It's something we take really, really seriously, and we know it can be a very, very moving and important time for all of us to reflect on war and peace. So join us for that. And again, the descriptor is below. Speaking of which, I wanted to play a little bit of World War I themed music. This is a piece called Vimy Ridge, and it is by the Canadian songwriter Lizzy Hoyt, and an arrangement by our very own Keith Sinclair, who you'll hear on guitar, accompanied also by Ken Cormier, our wonderful pianist. And Vimy Ridge, for those of you that don't know your World War I history, was a really important battle in terms of, especially for Canadian forces, a significant one for them. And it was waged on Easter of 1917. And this folk song that Lizzy Hoyt is, sort of folk pop piece that Lizzy Hoyt has written here, recounts that many of I think captures really the feelings of what it would have been like to wait to on the night before this battle, and the heart-wrenching losses that were so plagued the First World War and so many other wars. But this is, I think, a really wonderful choral adaptation that Keith Sinclair has made. So we'll sing for you now Lizzy Hoyt's Vimy Ridge.
Touch it now.
Early in the morning, the cold snow falling down, Easter of 1917. My love climbed out from the tunnels underground and stepped to no man's land in
That was Lizzy Hoyt's song Vimy Ridge, performed by Chor Leoni. It was an arrangement by Keith Sinclair, who you heard playing guitar, as well as featuring Ken Cormier, our wonderful pianist. I want to bring our guest for the show on, Rasmus Krigström, who is the director of a fabulous male choir from Stockholm, Sweden, 08. Hello, Rasmus.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I'm glad that we could find a mutual time between our time zones that would work to do this. I'm still on to coffee. You may be on to beer at this point, but that's
Way past your clock.
I am not there yet, my friend. So that is wonderful. Could you just tell us a little bit about who 08 is and what they do?
Well, it's a male choir of a little more than 40 singers, and we rehearse on a weekly basis. And we usually have concerts and trips, contests, festivals. Not this year though.
Nope.
But maybe it'll be back in a year now. So yeah, it's a male choir.
And this choir, when it was founded, had roots in barbershop music. Is that correct?
Correct. Founded by Doug Harrington, and strong focus on barbershop contests, barbershop singing, for the first 8 years or so.
Got it. And since you have taken over the helm as director of the group, I've noticed certainly a much a bigger broadening of the repertoire. Do you still keep some of the barbershop in your repertoire?
Yes, we still sing barbershop. We still compete in barbershop.
Oh.
We are the current third place, international third place bronze medalist from Salt Lake City last year.
Oh, congratulations!
There wasn't a contest this year,
No.
so we're the current bronze.
You get to have it for 2 years. Yeah.
Or more. Who knows? So yes, it's still a something that we guard very highly. We think very highly of it, and we love to sing it and compete.
Yeah, maybe touch on this a little bit later, but I want folks that maybe have not heard you, because I don't think probably Salt Lake City would be the closest you've ever gotten to Vancouver, British Columbia. Have you been to this part of the world ever?
Portland, Oregon, actually.
Oh,
2012.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I used to live there.
My brother used to live in Vancouver, so I've personally been to Vancouver for more than a week.
Well, we will need to get you back here when all of that is possible. But I want to have folks hear a little bit from your choir, and this is a piece called Limu Limu Lina. And could you tell us about it and also about the arrangement of the piece?
Okay, so it's a Swedish folk song from north of Stockholm, up in the woods, and I think it's sort of a kettle calling a little bit. Something you would sing to your herd to make them come back at dusk or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The arrangement was made under another arrangement for a joint concert that Ringmasters had together with another female vocal group called Kraja. So they wrote an arrangement years before this arrangement was created, and then we sang it in this concert. We thought it was pretty cool, and then Ringmasters did another version of that on their first studio album, and after that I took that arrangement and adapted it for 08 a few years after that. So this arrangement has a life cycle. So now it's back to the original SATB, well, 8-part arrangement for choir, and classical groups have been singing it now.
It,
So that's the idea of
oh,
that.
that's a really great Genesis story. That is fantastic. Well, I want folks to hear it. This is Limu Limu Lina with 08 performing. It was Limu Limu Lina 08 singing that in an arrangement sort of by Rasmus Krigström. Did we determine? Yes, more or less.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. As long as it's 08 singing, if there's no other than the melody, there's no one else's arrangement.
No one else is yours. It's hauntingly beautiful. I want to talk with you a little bit about just. I think you can hear that in the sound of your choir that those barbershop roots are there. Talk to me about what are you after when you are trying to, especially with 40 voices, build that beautiful chord and get the ring? What is your process to getting there? What are you highlighting to maximize the beauty of that sound?
Okay, so good vocal technique and the flow of voice, flow of sound, breath, um, will be one of the pillars, columns, sort of. Intonation is usually a breath problem, not an intonation problem, or another technique problem. So as long as the basic technique is very, very much in there, um, intonation won't be a problem. The second thing is vigorously tuning up all of the perfect intervals. There's an octave here, it's a fifth here, listen to this, listen to that, listen here, listen there, listen here, and just go through all of those places. Maybe even if they naturally tune up from the beginning, still be like, oh, here, listen. Tuning according to the natural overtone series it's human instinct. And you can have any group becoming really, really good at this if you just keep at it, keep practicing that, and break it down into intervals. The chords will come later. Break it down into the perfect intervals. This one here between the basses and so on. This one here. It's usually between the basses and another part. So that's the other super important part. So breath support, sort of ground vocal technique, intonation through listening, not just telling them what to do.
Right.
Make them listen.
Right. Do you find, and this has been a little bit of my experience, of course, and what you're saying really echoes, I think, my experience as well, of that the foundations of the vocal training have to be there in order to be even to start to ask for some of the things that we're doing. Do you ever find that what is being required to keep the tone, on the straighter side, or to find the right amount of brightness, or those sorts of things? Do you ever find that at odds with the vocal technique, or are there ways to bring those together?
Well, as far as vibrato, it's just choir singing at almost all times needs to be non-vibrato. There are exceptions, but to be able to tune chords, that's just what it has to be like. And yes, that can be a little tense at some point,
Sure.
especially higher up. It can be tense to sing straight tone, but that's just how it is. You can't tune a chord if the voices are not singing straight. As far as timbre, I do exercises with groups that sort of force them to do the right thing without them even thinking. So we do exercises, sing on a lot of different singables or bubble to make them, and also play around with different timbres. Sometimes I'll address it and talk to them as far as like try and go a little bit more forward here, or
Right.
sometimes I'll do that too.
I want to play another piece. Shall I Compare Thee? We found this beautiful video of the group singing. Tell us a little bit about the piece and its origin.
Zero8 has a sort of a legacy of new pieces coming out every year. It's a 1 or 2 pieces every year. It's music that we commission. So we get to premiere pieces of music, which is it's been a fantastic journey to do that every year for a while now. And I guess I decided I wanted to write something for the group, so I did, and it's the Shakespeare Sonnet 18.
Any take on this? Anything special that you, why you were drawn to this piece of text, or anything we should listen for, and in how you are interpreting Shakespeare?
All of the sonnets are very singable. I think the way the rhythm in them falls, or the way the words create different colors that inspire me as a composer to create different colors and chords and colors and progressions. And I guess this one just stands out a bit more than the others.
I really enjoyed it, and it was fun to learn this piece. This is Shall I Compare Thee? Rasmus Krigström was the conductor and the composer of this, with Zero8 singing.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds to
Words of the Bard, music by Rasmus Krigström, singing by Zero8 from Sweden. Gosh, that's just beautiful. You can hear there's barbershop hiding out in that piece. Maybe not even hiding.
I don't know. It's just chords.
It's
Not.
just chords, but again, the approach of the singing, I think it's really stunning, and you just don't always hear that close harmony singing in classical music done as well or that clearly. It's really stunning. Bravo! It's really
Right.
beautiful.
Thank you. And I think I'm starting to realize more and more what we're talking about here. The American classical tradition of choral singing is a vibrato tradition,
Yeah.
correct?
And I think
That's what we're
all
talking.
the training we get is I think a lot of teachers are trying to make you become opera stars, and
Right, right.
that's where
That's not a,
yeah.
yeah, it's not ensemble singing to me.
Hmm.
But so if a classical, really good male choir would or you could pitch it up and do it in a mixed setting, it would be shall I come back? Right? It would be more just sing it with vibrato, right?
Right.
That's what we're talking about. So yeah, there is no vibrato in Swedish choral singing. Well, not
That
in the same way.
that
That's not the yeah.
I'm curious because of that sort of strong identity that is clearly a part of your inner ear sound. When you listen to groups from Taipei or from North America or from wherever, are you drawn to some of the other kinds of vocal production and singing, or is that just not really uh, does that not resonate with you?
Um, well, it literally doesn't resonate as well because it doesn't tune up as well. But but I mean it can be very good in some genres and it should be there. And if we, for example, work with an orchestra and we sing the male choir pieces in Wagner's Tristan und Isolde, we will sing with vibrato. So
Right.
we try to adapt to whatever genre we're in, but it's just from our point of view, you don't have to sing classical music with vibrato at all, except maybe some opera pieces or some larger romantic pieces that really requires that sound, that vibrato, loose, big sound. Um, but no, it's and that's it's
Hmm.
some that's so it's yes, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
We have a barbershop sound in there as well, and I agree. But the non-vibrato things and stuff like that, that's not really a barbershop thing over here. That's a choir thing. It's
Sure.
all of us,
Sure.
all choir singers.
Um,
Hmm.
the no, Phil, this will be a spot for editing because my I had something here and I just I totally spaced on it. Um,
That kind
oh
of
yes, no, I got it. So aside from the vibrato, then are there other from piece to piece, from genre to genre, style to style, era to era? Are there other things that you are modifying or changing along the way? If pop pieces versus the classical, etc., etc.
absolutely a lot. Sometimes a lot. Sometimes tiny details. Um, a lot of genres will have, well, classical genres at least will have it in the phrasing of the music, um, not so much in the timbre perhaps,
Hmm.
but a lot of other like vocal jazz there'll be a lot of difference in timbre. You can't sing a Singers Unlimited piece without being just a little breathy.
Yeah, that little bit thinner.
Yeah,
Instead of
you
being
don't want
this
to ring
wide,
those
it's
chords.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to ring those chords too hard. You don't want to. So yeah, we absolutely try and adapt like that.
That's fantastic. I want to play one more piece from the group before we let you go. And this is a really lovely arrangement of Amazing Grace. Can you tell us a little bit about the genesis of the arrangement?
Yeah, so back when Doug Harrington directed, he had this idea of a chart that we talked about, and um, he most of it was already sort of ready in his head, but he wanted to figure some of it out. And so we had a writing session together and completed Amazing Grace as sort of arranging couple. And and the group really liked it, and audiences really starting to like it, and we now learn that it fits best in the church, of course, for many reasons. And I guess we had a couple of good hits that were filmed up there.
It's a fantastic arrangement, a fantastic performance. And I want to thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your gifts. It's just I can't wait to when you can get back to singing in person, touring and recording and making more beautiful music.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. This is Zero8 and their arrangement of Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my
That was Zero 8 from Stockholm, Sweden, singing their arrangement of Amazing Grace. Wonderful to have them on the show, and what a fresh take on that old chestnut of a song. That one will always be with us, I think. I wanted to have us hear one more piece with Chor Leoni singing this time, and we are going to go back to the Renaissance and hear probably one of the most beautifully crafted of all the motets. This is Palestrina's setting of Super Flumina Babylonis, and this is an arrangement that I did, not much of one, just moving the key, moving the notes down about a fourth, so that we can sing this in our ranges. It still puts the first tenors up into the stratosphere by the end of the piece, as the motet talks about hanging up their harps and into the trees to not sing anymore. And I thought that it was a good metaphor for the times that we're in here in COVID, where singing has just become a little bit less common, a little bit harder to do. This is Chor Leoni singing Super Flumina Babylonis. Palestrina is the composer. That was Super Flumina Babylonis. Palestrina's music, the singing of Chor Leoni. It was lovely to get a chance to do some of that early music with a big group. Now, you don't normally hear that kind of music in these ranges and with that many people, but I think that there's definitely a place for it. I want to bring in our director and producer, Mr. Phil Jack. Oh, Phil.
Hello, Eric.
How are you, sir?
I'm great. What beautiful music. What a great program.
Yeah, it was really fun. It's always great when we have another male choir on, I think, because we get a chance to hear sort of what we do through a whole new lens and a new filters. It's really, really beautiful sounds.
Especially when they're from so far away. It's very different.
Putting together the time zone difference for this was probably the most challenging portion of this show. Speaking of shows, we actually you and I are in beginning the throes of creating our first digital concert for this season for Chor Leoni. We're going to be doing our Remembrance Day concert virtually, and a lot of people asking, well, what is that going to entail? And at least for us, the plan is to basically curate some of the best performances from the last however many years, 8 years or so that we've been really filming these shows well, and curate them all together. So in many ways, I kind of get my dream Remembrance Day program that we'll be offering. I bet that's really interesting for you as well to go through some of those archived videos, seeing who's in the choir, what was going on that day, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty interesting process. We record most of our concerts, and we don't generally get around to using that material on YouTube right away. So it's actually kind of exciting to go back and go through our archives and to finally use a lot of the material we've put so much time and energy in. And it's cool. It's kind of rewarding to be able to revisit all these events.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's beautiful memories of I think the repertoire, as well as I think some of those special moments that are shared in our Remembrance Day programs, which have become a hallmark for Chor Leoni, and I think really are a really special kind of a choral event. Calling it a concert is not even the right way. With no applause until the very end. It is a real chance for communion, and it'll be very interesting for me to see if we can try to replicate some of that feeling in the digital realm.
I've often said that of all the programs we put on every year, Remembrance Day is the most powerful, the most significant, and really the most unique.
I agree. I don't know too many groups that sing about the repertoire or sing about this event in the way that we do. Try to balance that line of honoring soldiers for their service and those that have fallen, as well as trying to look towards peace. There's a lot that goes into it. I think philosophically from our end, let alone I think the beautiful and moving music that's there. So I really look forward to creating that program with you, which will be airing in about a month.
Yeah, I think it'll be something special.
Yeah. If you want to see this creation that Phil and I will be making, the links are below. You can just RSVP for that digital concert, which I believe will be going up November 10th and will be running through November 11th as well. Some of the great masterworks of the male choral literature, as well as just some, I think, really heartfelt pieces, including our first ever time of showing some clips from our Juno-nominated oratorio, When There Is Peace, composed by Zachary Wadsworth. So we hope to see you for that performance and to also see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for tuning in, and take care of yourselves. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Like and subscribe.
They say it's alright. They say it's alright. Say it's alright. Have a good time. 'Cause it's alright. Whoa, it's alright. Now we gonna move it slow. Up in the the lights are low. When you move it slow, it feels like a mo.